Alexis, CORDYCEPS 6 is one of your rides on the weekend. Race 3, the Class 1, looks a good race as well. Your horse comes back from the Classic Mile. First off, talk me through the Classic Mile, because he ran a really good race there up in Trip, didn't he?
Yes, he ran a great race. I was drawn wide. Makes it a lot harder for us, and I thought he ran a great race. Coming back to 1400, I think this time he's got the blinkers on, and that's going to help him, I assume. Maybe 1400 might be the best distance at the moment, just right in between, and I think he's in pretty good form.
Were you always quite confident going into the mile that he would acquit himself really well? I mean, there was such a big unknown with him.
Yeah, that's right. It's not easy, but he's a very easy horse. Like, he's very relaxed. He's never been very keen, so I wasn't really. I was concerned about the stamina, but not his manners, not his behavior. So, but he stayed on well.
He's obviously done the majority of his racing with the blinkers. You made mention of those going back on. I guess coming back in Trip, if it's not broken, don't fix it, I suppose, and they go back on.
Yeah, I think he's going to run a good race. I think he's the weight that he carries is just reasonable, and he seemed to be in good form, so I'm confident he should run well.
He jumps from gate number 2. I know it isn't a big field, Alexis, just the 7 runners, but certainly in a ground-saving position from the start.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's got an explosive and short turn of foot, so you're just looking for some cover and find the way through or out, and just try to win the race.
You've ridden one of his rivals, Healthy Happy, on more than one occasion. We know that he can roll forward, so I guess the tempo of the race could certainly suit your fellow.
Yeah, it should be okay. I mean, it looks like it's going to be a normal standard tempo, nothing crazy. So, but anyway, he seemed to relax pretty well, and he's got that good turn of foot, so I can put him everywhere I want.
Just early on in his career, Alexis, he was sort of a little bit, had the tendency to get a little bit fired up and things. Do you think he is relaxing now in every manner as he's got that bit older?
Yes, definitely. He gained maturity, and he settled very well. So I think with experience, he's still a young horse, right? And he's just getting more mature.
Lyle, CHING was very good to you and Michael Chang last time when you teamed up for the first time. Really taking performance. Back to the races he will go on Sunday, and just talk me through that first time that you sat on him, because he was visually very impressive.
Yes, he's a lovely big horse. He stands over a lot of ground. He's nice and tall, so he's got a bit of scope to him as well. That was obviously his first time stepping up over the mile, and he clearly enjoyed it. I think he did have a trouble-free passage. A lot of horses in the race probably never had as smooth a run as him, but with that said, his runs leading up to that had shown his ability, and with the smooth passage he was able to get it right. He hit the front a bit too soon, being a little bit mentally still immature. He was wondering that last little bit, but I like the way he picked up when he got into the open and went away from them early. And although just floundering a little bit towards the line, I don't think he was stopping. I think he was more just needing the experience. So he would have come on from that as well.
How confident would you have been going into that run, Lyle? Obviously, we'd all seen prior that he had been very much an unlucky horse. So I guess the confidence was always there between yourself and Michael.
Yes, definitely. I've also had the opportunity to gallop him before that, and I was impressed with that. So going to the race, I think, had a bit of expectation, and it was nice that it all paid off in the end.
Talking of troubled runs, the horse that actually chased you, Flying Mojito, he runs against you once again. Obviously, you've got to give that bit more weight to him. But that said, I mean, your horse wasn't stopping, so I imagine you're pretty confident to take him on at revised terms.
Yes. Look, I've got healthy respect for a horse like that. Like you said, he was held up and still managed to kick on towards the line and start to chase us down. So getting a bit more weight is obviously going to be in his favour as well, and it'll be interesting. But like I said, because Ching's a big horse as well, he should be able to shoulder a little bit extra. And I think that he's certainly capable of going in again, but it will be a bit more competitive and a bit closer, I would assume, this time round.
It does look that type of race. And as for yourself, you've had a couple of meetings off, obviously. I imagine you'll be fit and raring to get going once again. A decent book of rides this weekend?
Yeah, got a decent book of rides, and it's always nice to get back. You know, you never want to be off and be on the sidelines watching, but took the time to reflect and freshen up, and looking forward to get going again.
Zach, Prince of PORTY, made arguably perhaps the best first impression on debut. Goes to the races again on Sunday, stepping up in Trip this time as well.
Yeah, we trialled him around the corner recently, and although he was on the wrong legs, he seemed to trial quite well. He's drawn a good gate. He's going to be in the right spot. And I like the way he went first up when he had to dig deep and find. He certainly did that. He was up for the task. So, you know, he's a horse that I think has got a bit of a will to win. So hopefully he carries that on.
Just visually, I suppose, on the performance last time, it would seem perhaps that there is that little bit still to work with. Do you think going up in trip will bring out a good bit more in him?
Yeah, so I was a bit surprised first up because he'd shown a lot of speed, a natural speed in his barrier trials, and for whatever reason on race day, he took a while to get into his stride and get comfortable. So he was a little bit further back off the pace than what I expected, but when I asked him, he continued to lengthen and he got to the line strong. So we're hoping over the 1200 metres he can take a more comfortable position and hopefully it helps.
I guess that's aided from gate 2. You've got a bit of pace, a couple of doors down with Happy Fat Cat, so you should get a lovely run into it, shouldn't he?
Yeah, hopefully he shows his customary speed and gives us something to chase, and he's in good form, so he's a nice horse to look at.
Karis Teetan, Carroll Street, one of your rides on Sunday. We haven't seen him for a little while, but we have seen him in trials action. You've been on board him. He's looked pretty impressive.
Yes, Nick. He had a little break, and I think the horse has come back good. His trial up in Chung was impressive, and his trial in Sharton a few weeks ago was pretty good too. So I think he's in good shape to go to races, and I think he's going to be competitive too.
The way he finished off that trial for you, Karis, down the straight, I mean, he certainly hasn't lost any of that turn of foot in the time off. Yeah,
he's proven that in his races that he's got a good turn of foot over those 1,000-meter races. So I think he's ready to go to races. Like I said, the horse is in good shape.
How confident can you be as a rider knowing that he's got such a good fresh record? He's won a couple of times from 3, so this is probably the time to catch him. Would that be fair?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's the right time for me to get on him. He's going well. We've got a good draw. We've got a nice galloping weight on his back. So pretty confident going towards the race.
Yeah, 122 pounds certainly gets him well weighted. You have ridden this horse before. Do you remember much about him under race conditions?
Yeah, I know him. Actually, when he started, I used to ride him in the morning. And I rode him once, but he's come a long way. He's improved a lot. He's a lovely horse.
Karis Teetan, Wings of War is one of your rides on Sunday's card, race number 9. You're going to pull on very famous racing silks, those of Mary Slack. Yep. But talk us about this horse. Talk us through this horse's preparation, because you've been on board for those trials.
Yes, Nick. Well, firstly, it's nice to be able to have a big owner like, of course, Mary Slack in Hong Kong. I think it's a great thing to do, you know, and just to be able to ride her first run in Hong Kong, it's a great opportunity for me. But yeah, he's a lovely horse. He's doing everything right in his trial. We think he's ready to go to races. Of course, he's just gonna improve with racing.
Do you think there is that element of improvement to come? To what sort of degree, Karis? I mean, obviously, I'm sure he's not going to be screwed down for his first run. Obviously, there's obviously a longer aim, I suppose, with him. But as far as coming into his debut is concerned, are you pretty confident he can acquit himself where you are?
Yeah, 100%. I think he's going to be competitive. He's got a lot of class about him. And I think he's going to, you know, if what we think, I think he's going to take step by step, and I think he's going to gradually pick up a few points along the way, that's for sure.
Group 2 winner in the UK when trained by Clive Cox. That was over 1,200 metres in the Mill Reef. So, as you say, he does have a fairly decent level of form.
Yeah, I've watched some of his races, and like I said, you know, when I first set on him, he gave you a good feel. There is a bit of class about him, but yeah, just looking forward to riding him, and let's hope he runs well.
Just on the aspect of his owner, Mary Slack, would you have ridden for her in South Africa? I imagine you would have done. She obviously runs a lot of horses there.
Yeah, well, I did run a lot of horses for her back home. Don't know if she knows me, she still remembers me, but I'm sure she will do on Sunday. But yeah, she's of course a great owner to ride for. You know, of course we are blessed to have owners like this in South Africa that keep supporting racing.
Jamie, SINBA lines up in the final race for you on Sunday afternoon. Still a very lightly racehorse here in Hong Kong, but once again acquitted himself well last start.
He did. He had the big weight, and it's a bit of a funny run race that. Like they only went sort of, well, they went along a bit, but they sort of still made mid-race moves, and he just got caught in a bit of traffic and sort of got knocked off balance at the top of the straight. And with 135 pounds, he just sort of struggled to regather his momentum. They never would have beaten the winner, but he might have been able to run second had he had a clear run. So the horse is in good form. He's a horse with a good constitution. He's got a nice way of going and a good demeanour. So looking forward to him running on the weekend.
You've taken him back to the trials since that run, just a relatively easy trial. You were happy with that?
Yeah, he's got a bit of a busy schedule coming up. I just wanted to take him back to the trials and make sure that he was fit enough and forward enough to handle running this weekend, and then all things going well, backing up next weekend. So just to make sure that his fitness is right up to the mark, but he's a fit and happy and healthy horse.
The race you obviously allude to is the Classic Cup. He's made the cut. He is the final one in. So I guess for you and connections, that's certainly pleasing.
Yeah, for sure. So the plan has always been to give him a little bit of time to get over that last run, and then with a view to backing up into the Classic Cup, knowing that he's got a good demeanour and a good constitution, as I said, and I think he'll be able to handle it. So whether he's a true 16, 1800, 2000 metre horse, we're not entirely sure, but run him on the weekend. He's drawn a bit awkward again, and he's got the big weight, so it'll be up to Zach to try and get the right path for him in the race, and hopefully he can run well again.